A wild game in the ACC. Georgia Tech down 28-0 against Pitt. The Yellow Jackets made it a 7-point game late in the fourth quarter, but then on the Panthers' next drive, they seal it. Jakarian Turner, 56-yard touchdown, and the Fighting Pat Narduzzi's win it 42-28. 6 straight wins in ACC play. Panthers still in the mix to make the ACC title game. Winners and losers from Week 13. Back here with a pair of winners, Cardale Jones, Richard Johnson, but we start with a pair of losers. Georgia Tech down 28-0 to Pitt, but the deficit too much to overcome when you make too many mistakes. Haynes King looking like Haynes Peasant threw 2 interceptions, including one at the goal line that was returned 100 yards for a touchdown. Consider he had 2 interceptions in the first 9 games combined this season. Richard, your reaction to how this game played out, because it was the Yellow Jackets pulling at our heartstrings. We're rooting for this team, and then we see Pitt just overwhelm them at the end and seal it.
Oh, Pat Narduzzi. You sandbagger, you Pat Narduzzi. He sat there going into that Notre Dame game and said, we can lose 100-0, 110-3. It doesn't matter. You're telling me that Pitt staff was not locked and loaded into Georgia Tech film last week when they should have been prepping for Pitt or for Notre Dame? I'm sure they watched a little bit of Notre Dame. They watched enough to be able to roll the ball out last week. But it is clear to me that Pitt was locked in on Georgia Tech.
Yep.
And I imagine locked in on Miami in advance to finish out their season. Because, yeah, that when Pat Narduzzi gets up on that dais and says that we can lose to Notre Dame by 100, he is sending a very clear message. And they came out in this game and sent a very clear message to Georgia Tech. And then Cardale had to hold on for dear life, if we're honest.
Yeah, you know what? You make a good point, and I got to give credit to Pitt, which I was biting my tongue, and I did not want to do because I did not like Pat Narduzzi comments going into the Notre Dame week.
No, we did not.
At the end of the day, I want to win every game.
Right.
As a player, as a coach, that I line up and go against each and every opponent. Doesn't matter. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Pitt came out here completely prepared and ready for everything Georgia Tech had to offer from the beginning to the end of the game. At one point in the second half, it looked like Georgia Tech was going to mount a comeback. You know, Pitt only had 27 yards throughout the third quarter, but out of nowhere, they hunkered down, got back to the basics, and you saw the long run by Turner to put the ice on the cake, 56-yard touchdown. That is true, real-life, dog eats dog type of football right there. You got to love to see it, especially this was pretty much a playoff game. Who's going to represent their side in the ACC?
And the pick six. The pick six was massive.
Yep. Yeah.
Because it looks like Georgia Tech is going in there to cut that to a 1-score game. And it ends up being a 14-point swing on that play. An incredible play by Pitt. Because, look, at that point in time, that Pitt offense had not done much of anything since the beginning of the second quarter. But then at the end, as you brought up, the long run to put it on ice at the very end.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They had to fend off the Yellow Jackets because they were buzzing, but they could not overcome the deficit. So over the last 20 seasons, ACC teams are now 0-341 when trailing by at least 28 points. Georgia Tech was trying to be the first one. They do not. All right, a 2-for-1 winner and loser in the SEC. Entering the day, Tennessee had lost 10 straight games in Gainesville. The Vols go into the Swamp, dominate the Gators 31-11 to earn their first win at Florida since 2003. Richard, the hits keep coming for your Gators.
Whew, that was a tough one, man. That's a tough one. It had been 10 in a row to date before this one, and Florida comes out, and they didn't look like they got off the bus. I mean, Tennessee absolutely played them off their own home field in this game. They struggled. They struggled from the beginning. Tennessee came in here and did not mess around. Had some serious questions about Tennessee because they really hadn't beaten a good team yet so far this season. And I mean, if we're honest, they still haven't beaten a good team this season, but they did handle business in a tough road spot where they have been, they've been snake bit in Gainesville for years and years.
Well, they had a terrible schedule, too. They had one of the toughest schedules in all the country.
Spread in this game was tight. There were a lot of things that made you think that maybe Tennessee would stub the toe again, but credit to the Vols for taking care of business.
Yep.
Yeah, the Gators big-time losers today in this game right here. Not defending your home field, especially in a type of environment like this, especially against a team you have won 10 straight at home against and giving up the way they gave up and allowing 30-plus points versus a really good Tennessee offense. But like we said before the show, this Florida team has been led by the great defense they've been playing. I guess they didn't show up today.
Looking forward to next week's game because that's going to be a doozy. Vanderbilt and Tennessee.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Florida State.
No.
I said, that's a pillow fight.
No.
You gotta play Iowa on Twitch.
I'm talking about making the segue here, Richard, to the winners because that's what we're going to next. That's what professionals do. We're going to the winners here. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that. In the Big Ten, Oregon dominates through the air and on the ground against USC as the Ducks improve their CFP resume. Richard, what have you seen from Oregon since their only loss of the season to Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, you could question Oregon's resume if you want to, but Oregon has now stacked impressive wins in different ways, right? You beat that Iowa team. It's bad weather, sloppy game. Iowa's trying to take into deep water, and they're able to overcome in Kinnick. But then in this one, really left no doubt, and they did it with a lot of adversity, right? You've got DeCorian Moore is out in this game. You've got injuries, Gary Bryant as well in that receiver room out in this game. You've got offensive line injuries throughout the afternoon that you've got to move guys around. You're down to tackle number 4, for instance. Kenyon Sadiq, 2 scores, was the pass catcher of note in this game. And Oregon was able to rise above the issues that they had on their roster depth-wise with injuries, and they were able to really dominate USC in the end.
You know, the biggest thing I took away from this game today versus USC for Oregon is that they can get it done in many ways. You go back to a few weeks ago, like you said, in Iowa, the tough, nasty environment was able to play Iowa's game and beat them. Leading up to that game, I didn't know how Oregon would kind of pan out because bad weather, Dante Moore, this Oregon offense love to throw the ball all around the field, and we know when you have crappy weather, you're going to be limited on how many passes and the success you're going to have in the pass game. For them to be able to lean on Noah Whittington in that running game to get that game done in Iowa was very impressive, and now completely different change of tone versus USC. Still go for over 100 yards total on offense on the ground, but back to that high-power flying offense that we've been seeing all year from Oregon. They can get it done in many ways, and when they get healthy, they're going to be a scary team.
Yeah, Kenyon Sadiq, a big winner, 6 targets, 6 catches, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he is a projected first-round pick according to our Ryan Wilson. Notre Dame, a big winner, beat Syracuse by 63 points. Heisman candidate Jeremiyah Love had 171 yards rushing and a career-high 3 rushing touchdowns on 8 carries. Struck a Heisman pose in this game. Love has the 3rd shortest odds to win the award behind Indiana's Fernando Mendoza and Ohio State's Julian Sand. Cardale, what do you love about Jeremiyah Love?
Man, he is a baller, and he is the difference maker on this offense. As the running game goes, he gives C.J. Carr, that young quarterback who's going to have a very promising future that we can all tell. He gives him so much confidence. As he goes, this offense goes, and he has put on a completely show today versus Syracuse. 8 carries, 3 touchdowns, over 150 yards. Heisman-like numbers for a Heisman-caliber player.
To me, there's just nobody in college football right now that moves like Jeremiyah Love, right? The way he gets in and out of cuts, the way he transitions, the way he accelerates, the way he gets to top speed, his athleticism, when he hurdles. I mean, even think back to last year, right? College football player, he's got the knee brace on. He tells everybody that he's not going to hurdle, and then he gets in that game against Penn State and he hurdles anyway, right? His athleticism just jumps off the screen when you watch him play. You don't have to be an NFL scout. You don't have to be a draftnik to know that this guy is special, Hakeem.
Would you take him over a guy like Kewan Lacey?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
Because he's also a good runner at Ole Miss.
He is, but I think Jeremiah Smith has the better top-end speed, and I think he's a little bit better in the pass game. But in my opinion, both of those guys, 1A, 1B, you can't go wrong with 2 great talents like that at running back.
All right. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to give the Heisman to Jeremiah Smith. That's what I would do. If you ask me who the best player in college football is, it's Jeremiah Smith.
I think Jeremiyah Love is the more outstanding player, the most outstanding player in college football so far this year.
Fair enough. All right, Notre Dame has won 9 straight games by 30 points per game after starting the season 0-2. Let's give some love to Division II. Playoff game between Benedict College and Wingate. Benedict College was down 24-0 in the 3rd quarter, but the Tigers rally. Comes down to the final play of the game. Malik Mullins, this is absolute bonkers, all right? He scores on an 86-yard touchdown on a trick play as time expires to complete the comeback. Benedict wins it 25-24, their first ever playoff win in school history. That was absolute bonkers, Cardale.
This is called execution at its highest level. This is a play that you practice every freaking day, all the way through spring ball, leading up to the season, and you probably end in practice with this type of play, knowing that you may have one opportunity to run this play. I mean, you may go through years of being in this program and never running this play in a live rep, and today it paid off. Congratulations to Benedict.
That's the best throw I saw all day. Not the first one, the throwback. Yeah. That's the lateral, I guess.
It's pretty wide.
Yeah,
53 yards wide in football field. It was right on the money. Yeah. Got the guy in stride, hit up the sideline.
Absolutely. Like, it's technically a lateral, but yeah, that's the best throw I saw all day, man. It's incredible.
We got our eyes on everything. Shouts to Benedict College. What a win. They score 18 points in the fourth quarter. The trick play to cap it. What a comeback for them. I say to you, have a day, kids. All right, here's a look at the odds to win the FBS National Championship, the College Football Playoff National Championship. Number 1, Ohio State is the favorite to run it back, followed by Indiana, chasing their first football title in school history. Last school to win back-to-back natties, Georgia, in 2021 and 2022.